I got to start over. So bear with me because here we go. All right, folks, we're live. And we're live with another Living in Costa Rica live broadcast. And today we're talking about a serious problem. And you know, the problem is actually more serious in the United States than it is in Costa Rica. You know, and that's because in the United States, the issue we're talking about has been abused terribly. And in Costa Rica, well, it hasn't. And it's really only a problem when you legitimately have to return an item that you've bought. So today, we're actually talking about the cultural differences of shopping in Costa Rica. We got great news. They're finally working. So hopefully Rebecca won't have to yell at you guys and you won't have to keep asking me to speak up because I'm so soft-spoken.
It still cuts out.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay. All right, folks, sorry about that, but it looks like we had some internet challenges, so I'm kind of swapping up some things. So hopefully things are working okay now, and hopefully our internet won't be buffering. Hey, thank you very much, David. And of course, we were right in the middle of some announcements and letting you know that, hey, yes, we'll have 2 live broadcasts. As always, our first live broadcast will be 30 minutes long?
30 minutes long. Second one will begin at 2:45 Eastern Time.
That's right, 2:45 Eastern Time, where we take our time, answer every question, and try to help you with every comment and everything that you want to know about, hey, the cultural differences of shopping in Costa Rica. So lots of fun information to give you about that today. And hey, also want to say thank you very much. You know, you can support us greatly by simply going in the chat box. Hey, put in a lot of chats. That supports us greatly. If you chat, put your questions in there. You can also hit the $ at the bottom and you can support us in any way you want. Like David, thank you very much. He says that is the going toward the Costa Rica Apple Juice Fund. You know, that really helps us a lot. Somebody's got to buy us dinner today. We're eating at our favorite restaurant. And before we go there, tell them, where are we at, Rebecca?
Well, as usual, I have to look at the menu to say it, but Complejos Los Ranchos.
Complejos Los Ranchos. So this is a great restaurant, and how come we like it so much?
Well, we love the fried fish, and vegetables are just right. They make them just like we like them. And the scenery, the view, the wildlife. I mean, 2 birds just flew by while we were saying that. The fish, we can watch koi and I guess it's goldfish.
Yeah, there's some big giant koi or goldfish back there. But you know, this is really a nice place because if you come eat here, you can actually catch your own meal if you want to, and they'll cook whatever you catch. And they just have several big tilapia ponds. And so they really have some good fish here where it's battered, but it's not too battered, and it really has good flavor.
Right.
So
and they're very accommodating to us doing these lives here, so we really appreciate it.
That's right. So we want to just say thank you very much anytime that you donate, and make sure that you hit that like button because that really helps us a whole lot because it sends signals to the YouTube algorithm that you like our content. So let's go ahead and get started. Hey, if this is your first time here and you just now meeting us, well, I'm Alan and this is my wonderful co-host and my wife, Rebecca. And today we're going to be talking to you about the differences, the cultural differences of shopping in Costa Rica.
Right.
Now, you know, ladies, well, you know, we typically seem to think that ladies love to go shopping and men don't, but hey, some guys do. So I guess as you say, if you like to go shopping, then this is definitely for you. Rebecca's not the norm. You love to go shopping, don't you?
No.
No, Rebecca hates to go shopping. She didn't like to go shopping when she was in the United States. And then...
Well, I did.
You did?
Well, somewhat. When we lived in Las Vegas, we were in the outskirts, you know, way almost to the last exit in Las Vegas. And we had those nice little shopping centers that I enjoyed going to because it was right by the house. But now I have to, anytime I have to drive that far to go shopping, even in the United States, I didn't enjoy it. And for Costa Rica, the reason I don't enjoy shopping is it's hard to find parking. It's hardly any stores can you leave the store with your cart or your buggy and roll it all the way out to your car. So I like when he comes with me because he does all the heavy lifting. Yes.
You know,
so, and
muscles.
Most little stores, they have people, it's kind of full service. You know, if they see you coming out of the store, they'll help you. They have people, those that box the groceries or bag the groceries, they'll help you carry it to your car. So that's not that big of an issue. I guess the parking is one of the biggest issues for me because I'm short and I can't see well over the steering wheel. I mean, over the hood. I can see over the steering wheel, but over the hood, and it because we have an SUV, and it's just difficult.
But you know, one of the things that once you do, like you said, it is full service. However, you can have a buggy full of stuff. And typically, if they can get that buggy stuff in one bag, it will be in one bag.
That too. I find that difficult. I'm trying to watch as they're scanning, scanning. I'm trying to watch the register and, the stuff that's going through. I have a hard time watching that and watching how they're bagging my groceries. When you come with me, you're doing the bagging or you're watching and helping. So, it's not uncommon for my tomatoes to be at the bottom of a bag with...
or your bread's at the bottom of the bag, and, when you get home, well, now you got jam sandwiches without the jam.
Yeah, so, it's little things like that that are big cultural differences for me. In the U.S., to bag, if somebody were to put your bread or your soft vegetables in with maybe a jar of something or a can of something, that's taboo. They would.
Well, I think in the United States, most people that are bagging your groceries, they're well trained. You put food items at food items, you put non-food items with non-food items, and that doesn't seem, that's almost common sense. And it seems like here that they do try to do that at some places. However, it is not uncommon to have a loaf of bread or having your tomatoes, something soft down at the bottom, because they're really not thinking. They're just putting stuff in a bag, and then lo and behold, here's a heavy pineapple, and it goes in the top,
Right,
So,
and it's definitely not all places. We don't want to sound like it's just a handful of places.
No, it's
that you
at the
have to
majority
watch.
of the places
You
that you.
think?
No,
I don't
it's the
think so.
no. And when I first came here, I lost it, because I wasn't
Yeah, but
used
when
to
we
that.
first lived, we were down south.
Well, down south.
Where
Well,
there's
well,
more mom and pop
Okay,
stores.
well, you're right. So a lot of places down south, and when we say down south, we'd say south of Paris Zeledon area, they just don't get a lot of tourists. And hey, it's just typical. They put everything in one bag if they can get it in one
they're trying to
bag.
save their bags.
Yeah, maybe so. But, with the bag issue, Costa Rica is trying to be more
environmentally
conscious. That's
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
And
so we have our own bags now.
well,
our
Walmart
reusable shopping
and
bags.
places, a lot of places are beginning to sell cloth bags, and they want you to bring your cloth bags. So a lot of places you can't even get a plastic bag anymore. Okay, and
Which
they
I
will
think is
actually,
great.
yeah, but they will actually bag your stuff in your own cloth bag, and you still have the same problem with mashed
Yeah.
stuff at the bottom. So
Yeah.
I just go in and I try to be real nice and say, oh no, thank you, I'll just bag it myself, and
Yeah.
I bag stuff myself because I'm pretty anal about that. I put all of my non-food stuff and my food stuff, and I put all my soft stuff together. So it's just something you need to know, okay?
Yeah,
Now,
especially when you're going with those big cloth bags that
They can hold
put
a lot.
whole bunch of stuff in there.
But Costa Rica just tends to try to put everything in one bag, so anyway, it's just something you need to know about. Now also, another thing, let me look at my notes right here,
We
is
went really long on just
on just a bag, okay? So, and not too long. Okay, so, another thing that's real important to understand is that in Costa Rica, and what I started out earlier, that, hey, look, you will have, and this is a pet peeve for me. In the United States, it gets abused all the time. You can get a refund for anything for no reason whatsoever. And so that policy has been abused. You can bring something to Walmart. You can bring a sack of concrete that's now a rock and say you want a refund for it and just about get it back, But in Costa Rica, refunds are not the normal at all. Matter of fact, it's very difficult for you to get an exchange, or you will not get an exchange unless you have a receipt, okay? So it's not a problem here unless you legitimately need to get a refund. And there are times where in Costa Rica, you legitimately want a refund. So it's important to understand that when you buy something, make sure that you want it. Because if you get home and it breaks, well, that's on you. And so when you're shopping, for example, Walmart just came here, so Walmart does do things differently. Keep in mind, we share things based on our experiences. If you're living in the San Jose area, it could be a little different. We typically don't live in the touristy areas. We don't live in the cities, okay? So for us, most of the places we go, yeah, they put everything in one little bag. It's hard to find stuff. However, if you're in the San Jose area, you can find just about anything that you want, okay? But you know, when you get away from the cities, it is a challenge to find anything. And wow, were we ever excited when Walmart came to the Perez Zeledón area, because it made it so much easier to find things. However, you still don't get everything in this Walmart that you do in the United States, because Walmart is big about selling only the stuff that does sell. And so it's not going to be the same. Matter of fact, an important thing that I bet you don't know is that in every Walmart across the United States, there will be a humongous line of people waiting to do what?
The service department, the return department.
Yeah,
that's what I noticed, and I wanted to point that out. The Walmart in Perez Zeledón doesn't even have a return department or a service department. So it's like and I think returns are really abused in the United States.
Yeah.
Even on Amazon, you can
return anything for no reason at all.
Return it. I think it wasn't like that 20 years ago in the United States, and I think it's not a good thing.
Right.
It's abused. It's a good thing, but it's abused.
So, it's important to know that even, the Walmarts here in Costa Rica, they don't have a return desk. It's just not normal to get a return. So normally when you buy stuff, not so much in Walmart, but in all of the other places, if I go and I buy an appliance and it's an electronic appliance, they will open up that box, they will plug it in, and they will show you, look, that hair dryer does work. So don't you come bringing it back to me tomorrow and tell me it don't work, okay? One time, I actually bought 30 light bulbs for a friend at his place. Why don't you go ask him to turn that down, please, if it's possible. We were actually, I bought 30 light bulbs for a friend who, was going to put light bulbs in this anyway. It doesn't matter why, but I bought 30 light bulbs, and when I got to the register, believe it or not, they took every light bulb out of the box, stuck it in the socket to show me it works. It works. It works. And even though I said, no, you don't need to check it, they're like, yes, I have to check every light bulb. I'm like, ugh. So 30 light bulbs later, every light bulb works. So anyway, it's important to know that, in Costa Rica, they don't want returns. And so they're going to show you that everything works. Matter of fact, we just bought a deep freezer from Walmart, and Walmart told us, hey, you need to check that deep freezer within so many days. And Rebecca, Walmart, when we bought the deep freezer, how long did they tell you need to check that deep freezer to make sure it works?
I think they said 72 hours.
Yeah, so they wanted us to check it within a few hours and make sure it works. Matter of fact, I don't know, maybe a month ago, I went to buy a chainsaw. And I went to go buy this chainsaw, and do you know that when I bought the chainsaw, they put the chainsaw together, put the blade on it, put gas and oil in it, and they took me out back and they cranked it up, said, see, the chainsaw works. So that's just not typical. That doesn't happen in the United States. If you buy a lawnmower, and that's another good tip. I tried to buy a lawnmower when I first got here. However, if you know anything about lawnmowers or any kind of gasoline operated machine, that machine will come in, they immediately put oil and gas in it, and it's been sitting in the store for months, and that gas has gotten old, and so it doesn't crank right. So if you go to buy a lawnmower, you make sure you open it up first to make sure there's no gas and oil in it, okay, and then buy it. Otherwise, you're going to have problems with it because it's been sitting there.
We always try to buy out of the box. We ask for something in the box rather than what's been displayed for that purpose. So, but in stores like PriceSmart, to give an example of, we bought a laptop at PriceSmart in San Jose, and I forgot what was wrong with it. It didn't have, when we got home, it didn't have enough USB ports for what we needed. So we had the receipt, and we were a little
leery.
And whether we were going to get our money back. We were hoping at least to get a return, maybe a store credit, to buy something else. But lo and behold, they gave us a refund with no problem.
Right.
Even put it back on the card at that store.
That's right. So that's important to note that while the majority of the stores, and I say 99% of them, will not give you a refund, you do have big box stores like Walmart, like PriceSmart, that will give you your refund if you got the receipt. Okay. And like Rebecca said, but we did buy the first laptop we bought for her. We bought it in Panama at the border. And now, this is a few years ago, and it was an old Windows 7 laptop, and that was right at the time whenever Microsoft came out with the new the Office 10 operating system. So as soon as we got home, we bought the laptop and we installed Microsoft 10 on it, Windows 10, and it didn't even have enough power to operate. So we took it back to the same place within 2 days, and within 2 days they refused. Even though we had the receipt, it was only like 2 days. It might even been within 24 hours. They refused to give us a refund. Obviously, they want to give you a replacement, but what good is a replacement?
Yeah.
I mean,
and they didn't even have any other.
Well, they didn't even actually have another replacement, did they?
Right.
That was the
Nothing.
only
Everything
one.
was older than we had bought the newest one newest version or model that they had in the store. So we certainly didn't want to replace it.
That's right. So I mean, if something doesn't work, they almost always want to just give you a replacement. But hey, I just bought a little cart the other day, and within 10 minutes it broke. Well, I don't want a replacement. It doesn't work.
It's not a good product.
And if you give me another one, it's not going to work. I just want a refund, but it's not going to happen. And now a few places will give you a store credit. And real quick here, I do see that a couple of people commenting, hey, I don't see where I can donate. Hey, just simply in the chat box where you're chatting at and you're putting in your comments and questions, please put in all your comments, put in your questions, but you'll see a $ right there. Just hit that $sign right there, and it's called a super chat. And then you can donate any amount of money that you want, and we greatly appreciate your support for that, okay? We really do. Every bit helps us tremendously, and so we just really appreciate your help.
Yeah.
So anyway, a lot of places, if you do get you'll get a refund. If you do get a refund, which is very rare, then they will actually, I lost my train of thought there for a second, but most places don't give you a refund, but if you do get a refund, then they usually will just give you cash, okay?
Right.
And so it's only...
Well, that leads into the next topic, if you're finished with that topic, right? Because that made me think about, you also need to check your receipts carefully, because unlike in the U.S. where everything seems to be, what would you call it, electronic or digital, here a lot of things are still entered in manually. Like if you go to the fruit and vegetable stands or some restaurants, they will enter things in manually. And I've had it happen a few times that mistakes were made. And you just got to check your receipt. And every time that I've gone back to the cashier and shown the error, they've been more than, sorry, and, there's no problem. They give you your money back. But I think what Alan was getting ready to say is if you've purchased it with your debit card or your credit card, they're going to give you back cash.
Yeah,
I've never had anyone give me fix a mistake or a refund and put it back on my card, except for that time at PriceSmart.
That's right.
But,
now, I have had, but you've had them give you or put the money back on your card at PriceSmart, and I've had them actually put money back on my card at Walmart. But that's the only two places that
I've never returned anything at Walmart.
Right.
So.
See, and but, hey, we've been here for since 2013. We've just learned no one returns, and so if you do get an exchange, or like Rebecca was saying, there is an error.
Yeah.
They just give you back cash.
The other day we were eating at a restaurant, and something that I had ordered was about 6,300 colones. And when I got the bill, they had charged me 63,000 colones. Like put the
so
too
it was
many
just a
zeros.
typo.
Yeah, just a typo. They put the zero in the wrong place. So that I was going to pay $120 instead of $12 approximately. And no problem. Just showed them, and but that's the point, is that this was entered in manually. So just
So it's
check your
important to
receipts.
always check your receipts because, hey, they're human too, just like anywhere else in the world, and they can make mistakes.
Right.
However, sometimes it may happen a little more often than in the United States because they do manually have to punch in things,
Yeah.
whereas, some things are automated in the United
Yeah,
States.
like at a lot of the little mom and pop places, the fruit and vegetable stand charged me one time for 24 eggplants instead of 4 eggplants. Of course, I noticed that quickly on my receipt. So
So it's important to just double check your stuff.
Yeah.
Now, that reminds me because, I was actually buying a watch. So I had a friend lives way out in a remote area. He needed a brand new watch. However, he has no transportation. He's an old person, asked me to pick him up a watch. So I go into the watch store and, I'm looking at all of these watches, and the guy behind the counter who's trying to help me, I said, look, I'm going to buy both these watches. I don't know which one he prefers, but I'm going to buy both watches. I'm going to take it up to him this week. I'll let him decide which one he wants, and then I'll bring the other watch back. And I said, is that okay? He says, well, yeah, that's okay. But when you bring the watch back, I can't give you no refund. You can just get an exchange. Well, I only need one watch. I don't need 2 watches, so I don't want an exchange. Well, no, maybe you take the watch to him. If he don't like it, you come back, get the other watch and take it to him. That's my Tico voice, okay? So anyway, that's my Tico Spanish, my Tico with his broken English, okay? But anyway, that's the point, is that they do not give refunds, and he was more than glad to give me an exchange for another one. So it's just a part of Costa Rica. They don't give refunds. So in that scenario, I just had to pick out the best watch, take it to my friend and say, hey, I hope this is a good watch. If you don't like it, I'll bring it back. Bring it the next time I come. That's just the way it is. They don't give refunds.
yeah.
So
and in the U.S., almost any store will take back
that's right. Almost
something.
any
as
store
long
will
as
take.
it's in good condition,
Right.
you have your receipt,
Right.
so.
However, that policy has been abused so much in the United States that it's become a pet peeve for me because, we sell stuff online. And so it really bothers me when a customer wants a refund for any or no reason at all. Used to, if you went to the store and you bought something, well, then you had to get in your vehicle, drive to the store, and get a refund. Well, and then it seems to be it's not that way anymore online. Matter of fact, a lot of places like Amazon, want to encourage you to give a returnless refund. And I'm like, a returnless refund? You mean you want me to let them have the product just because they don't want it no more? No, that ain't happening because people abuse that system so much. But anyway, that's my pet peeve. That's my rant, okay? So anyway.
So the gist of it is, when you're shopping in Costa Rica, just make sure what you're buying
Yeah.
is something that you want, because it's not like in the U.S., oh, you get it home, I don't like it that much and I want to just bring it back for a refund.
That's right.
So, but I think if you have a legitimate, it broke, you may have a little more difficulty, but I think most places will work with you.
Some will. Now, there's some places that won't. For example, the case where we bought a laptop in Panama, and obviously it wasn't our fault. It was an old model. It couldn't handle the new upgrade, and
It was almost useless.
it was
yeah.
brand new. They refused to give us a refund on it. So in that case, here's what you can do. And this is what we try to always do. We try to always buy on our credit card. Because if you buy on your credit card and they refuse to give you a refund, well, I gave them back the laptop and they said they would send it into the manufacturer, which I knew I would never see that thing again, or it would be months and months before I ever saw it. I gave it back to them, so I didn't have it anymore. I gave it back to them. I called my credit card company and I told them, I said, look, I worked with dealer. I tried everything I could to get a refund. He refused to give me a refund. I gave it to him, and I had to do an actual chargeback on the card. So we did a chargeback on the card so that, we ended up getting our money back for that laptop. So it's just something for you to think about because, banks and credit card companies will protect you if it's a legitimate problem or a legitimate, issue that you have. So in that case, we had to do a chargeback so that we can get our money back because obviously they refused to work with us.
Yeah, and we're mentioning this because it's important if you're coming to Costa Rica and you're going to be buying an entire, household worth of stuff, all your appliances and
Right.
lawn care equipment and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So.
And it's important that, hey, when we're talking about computers, if you're going to buy anything high tech, it's very important that if you buy anything high tech, and I'm talking about computers, phones, audio equipment. You should really try to buy all of that stuff in the United States because it's very difficult to get that stuff in Costa Rica. As you guys know that watch us on a regular basis, well, we had some problems the last few weeks with our audio. And 1 week we had terrible wind noise, and it was because the lapel mics weren't working. The next week, we still didn't have the lapel mics working, and it was a lot of background noise. And so in order to compensate, I was speaking louder than normal. I always speak loud. Rebecca never speaks loud. And so while nobody could hear her, I was too loud, and people were like, turn it down, and I didn't know because I was overcompensating for the background noise. Thank goodness, we got this lapel mics working, but you can't just run to town and buy lapel mics.
Right. And a lot of people made suggestions like, well, why don't you just get this or get that? Well, it's not that easy.
Yeah,
here.
we greatly appreciate your suggestions. However, when shopping in Costa Rica, you don't just go to town and buy what you need.
Right.
Now, especially when you go south. We first came, we was in San Vito, and when you go to San Vito, there just wasn't that much. It's very difficult to find what you need, and while you might find it, you might spend all day shopping to find what you need.
And stuff tends to be sometimes mislabeled, like the packaging is not a true representation of what's inside. We've experienced that. And a lot of things are poorer quality. So while you can go to San Jose and get almost anything, it's quite a trip for us from our house to go to San Jose.
Yeah. So, that's important for you to know. While you can find stuff in these other little places, you might look all day long. When you finally do find it, it's not the color you want. You're having to settle. And
but it's not the quality.
It's not the quality, so it doesn't last. Now, if you go to San Jose, well, yeah, you could probably find what you want. However, for us, it's a good 3.5 hour trip to San Jose, and we live in the center of Costa Rica. Imagine if you lived in San Vito, that's a good 6 hours, 7 hours to go to San Jose. So you do have to consider where you're going to live at and when you're doing your shopping. So I always suggest people, if you're coming and you're going to be here for a few months, stop in San Jose when you arrive, or if you're arriving in Liberia, buy what you need to buy when you're there, because, in San Jose, they actually have an Office Depot. So, hey, if you need to buy a monitor for your computer, then you can buy it at the Office Depot, because it's very difficult to find monitors, for your computer once you leave San Jose.
Yeah.
It's just difficult.
In San Vito, we actually had to buy TV, little small TVs.
Little small TVs.
To use as monitors because we could not find a computer monitor in that whole area.
That's right, and it was expensive. And TVs are not good for your eyes. They're supposed to be away from it. And obviously, when you're sitting at a computer, your monitor's up close, and so that was difficult. So it's just important to know that while you can buy stuff, hey, if you got to buy it, go to San Jose, and you'll be a lot better off. Okay.
Yeah. And we're reaching 30 minutes, and we didn't cover one of the topics.
Okay,
that we wanted
give
to
me that bottle.
discuss.
Okay, now another thing that's really important for you to know is that, whenever you are, when you're shopping, in the United States, let's say that you buy a 6-pack of Coca-Cola, okay? And as you know, Coca-Cola, if it's in a glass bottle, they're returnable bottles. And, I remember as a kid, man, I was always an entrepreneur. I would be going through the ditches and I'd pick up the bottles because I could get 5 cents for a small bottle and I get 10 cents for a big bottle. And then I got a raise one year because everything went to 10 cents and 20 cents. I was like, woohoo! Anyway, no one thinks twice about buying stuff there. But in Costa Rica, if you happen to buy a cerveza, all of the bottles are indeed returnable, okay? However, it's not like 5 cents or 10 cents. Matter of fact, and I don't quote me on the exact price, but when you go buy, let's say you buy a case of cerveza in the bottle, okay? The return fee on that is almost half of the price of the beer. So if this beer is normally about, 800, 900 colones, well, the returnable bottle is like 400 colones. It's very expensive, okay? So, and they do that to encourage people or keep people from throwing the garbage out, okay?
And they recycle.
Yeah, so that you will recycle. Now, the thing that's important for you to note, you're going to pay that return, you're going to pay that deposit, but you're only going to pay it the one time because obviously you buy a case, and whenever you decide to go get another case, you just exchange the empty bottles, get another case, and it's the normal price, okay? However, let's just say that you're having a party and you got a bunch of friends coming over and you need 3 or 4 cases of beer. You're going to have to pay the deposit on all of them. And whenever you're done with the party, when you go back to Walmart or wherever to return those empty bottles, you will not get a refund for that deposit unless you actually have the receipt from them, okay? And so, in my mind, I'm thinking, come on, people, you've got empty bottles all the time. Do you need a receipt? I have the bottles. Just give me the money back. They will not give you that money back. And some stores charge a different deposit fee than others. I don't understand that, okay? And one store has told me, if you're going to return the bottles, make sure you save the receipt, bring it only to this store because I don't take it from any other store, okay?
Right.
So, and my guess is maybe, I don't know, maybe that is to keep people from stealing bottles and then bringing them back just to get a refund. You actually have to have the receipt. So, long story short, I didn't keep the receipt and I got a few cases of bottles that I can't get a refund for. I got bottles for sale if you want to buy some. Okay. So anyway, it's just things that you need to know when shopping in Costa Rica. There are huge cultural differences about that. So I kind of like it in one way that the refund policy hasn't been abused. However, while in the United States, the refund policy is way off in left field because it's been abused, well, in Costa Rica, it's way off in right field because they don't want to give you a refund for anything at all. And so, I wish it was somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
You just have to know the differences, that's all, okay? So anyway, we are right now at 35 minutes. I need to shut this down, but remember, what we're going to do is we're going to have our live Q&A where we answer every single question, every single comment, and we're going to be talking about shopping in Costa Rica. However, after we answer all of those questions, we're going to answer all of the other questions, okay? So with that said, hey, I'll see you in about 10 minutes or about 11 minutes from now at 2:45 Eastern Standard Time. But before you leave, please take a moment, hit that like button, because I can see that we got a bunch of people on with us right now. Hit that like button, and that we greatly appreciate your support. We appreciate your support when you donate to us by hitting that $sign. But hey, greatly appreciate you. Take a moment right now, hit the like button before we close this off so that YouTube says, hey, that content must be good stuff. They like it, okay? So once again, I'm Alan. This is my wonderful co-host, Alan, my wonderful co-host, Rebecca, and we're going to see you in about 10 minutes on our next live Living in Costa Rica Q&A as we're talking about the cultural differences of shopping in Costa Rica.